Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is John Deline, a systems engineer here at Verify, and I'll be your host for today's session. Today's session will cover MS Teams role-based access. Our presenter today is Jim Schultens, another systems engineer here and our team lead for MS Teams. Did you get to see the eclipse on Monday, Jim?
Well, John, it was totally cloudy here, so really it was pretty worthless. It was like just any other day.
View. A little bit between the clouds, not like some people have seen some fantastic pictures. All right, well, please note that these webinars are always recorded and posted within 24 hours. So if you have to leave early or just want to be able to review it again at your own pace, check the webinars page on our website for all past and upcoming sessions. First, we'll start off with an overview of our company and what we do. Then we'll jump to a live demo where Jim will cover how to limit your users' data visibility using Verify's search set restrictions. We'll leave time for Q&A, so if you have any questions during the presentation, make sure to enter them in the Q&A panel. After Q&A, we will award one lucky attendee a $50 Amazon gift card, so hang around to see if you've won. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution for your migration and ongoing collaboration needs. Deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution, we provide industry-leading Call Manager, Cube, UCCX, Zoom Phone, WebEx calling, and MS Teams and analytics. Along with a host of other Cisco Call Manager related tools like remote phone control, change management, DN and DID management, and more. Verify is the multi-tool in your collaboration tool belt. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@verify.com or reach out to your Verify Success Manager. One more thing before we kick things off. For an additional fee, Verify offers an enhanced consulting service to our customers. Verify's SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis, remotely provide additional consulting, report building, dashboard configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you with a dedicated Verify SE to do the heavy lifting, giving you a stress-free, hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us or your account manager, and we'd be glad to speak to you more in depth about pricing and terms of service for our Enhanced Consulting Services, or ECS. I'm going to hand things off to Jim now. Please remember to submit any questions into the Q&A panel, and we'll address them towards the end of his presentation. Over to you, Jim.
All right, thank you everyone for joining, and welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. As John mentioned, today we're going to take a dive into some of the security settings and show you how to restrict your users' access to either only the data they need to see. I'll go over some ways to limit the access to only see their own data, only see specific users or departments, and also how to create exclusions. What I mean by that is, for example, say your CEO doesn't want anyone to see his or her calls. You can exclude that from your reports. So I'll show you how to do that once we get started. And to get started, I'm going to start out in the user accounts and groups. So to get there, I go to my gear icon, my settings icon, under user authentication, user accounts and groups. And that's going to load up all my users. This is being our lab. We've got a bunch of users in here. This demonstration, I'm just going to use one who is conveniently called Jim. But before we do that, I'm going to go into settings just to go through a couple of these options here. You see these. You may want to ask what they're used for. So the settings, kind of overall, you don't have to do this, but it gives you a way to configure auto user provisioning. That's a way to have users automatically added to the system with a login. Uses SSO and then also a default user group. So I'll get into the user groups there in a second, but the user groups allow you to group users together, so you don't have to configure security settings for every user. You can just configure a group and then put those users in the group. So the auto user provisioning does require a group that's going to be that security setting for that group will be applied to all your automatically provisioned users. And then you can get alerted if someone does get auto provisioned, and you select who you want to get that email notification. Sliding down a little bit here, we've got brute force login protection. That allows you to set some things based on logins from a specific IP address. If you've got multiple logins, multiple failed login attempts, you can change that, how many attempts and how long of time span. And then if that occurs, you can throw that person or that IP address in jail for a set amount of time. You can also do that based on username, same settings here for username. And as well, you could get an email notification that someone tried to hack into your system, and that'll give you the notification, and it's also listed at the bottom here. So I'm not going to do that. That's not really the purpose, but I thought I'd show you what this settings menu is all about. And the user group, I touched on that a little bit. This allows you to configure a group loading a little bit slow, but there we go. We've got a bunch of them configured in this lab environment. So say you've got 50 users you want to assign in Verify, and they're all going to have maybe 25 or 30 of them should have the same security privileges. I would set up a group and then add those users in the group. That way you don't have to go through each individual user and set up their security. So it makes it a little bit easier that way. So like I said, I'm going to focus on the users here, and we're going to focus on Jim. And so if I go and edit Jim, you can give it the username, put the password in when initially setting it up, or you can change the password here for that user, description, and their preferred time zone. This particular lab has a single sign-on, so this user I'm going to set up to bypass so I can actually log in with that user because it's not part of single sign-on. And here, this is where you can give it some application privileges, either make them a sysadmin, in this case we're not, but you can allow them to change their own password, change their time zone, and so on and so forth. And we're going to slide on down. MS Teams does not have dashboards yet. That is coming down the pipe shortly. But as soon as that does, we want to turn that on for access to the dashboard for this user. But for our purpose today, we're just going to focus on the MS Teams call analytics. I'm actually going to remove that. So when you would come in here, you'd see this. You can set up, however you want, and then you're going to add a platform. In this case, we're going to stick with Teams. Look on the little green plus, which is something I always forget to do. And then in here, it kind of remembered what we had, but all these should be turned off when you actually go and do it. So you can make this user a call analytics administrator, and then really that's all you have to do. Save it, but that's not what we're here for today. We're here to do some restricted data visibility. You can also, either give the user access to reporting and or call history. You can have both on or one or the other. If I turn off reporting, you notice this goes away because we don't care about report permissions with it off, but it does allow you to have this user either schedule reports or access shared reports. I can set it up to access all shared reports, or I can pick specific ones. These are both happen to be shared. I'm just going to give them access to all of it. And then you can also give it access to read, edit, or full privileges in that. So in here, this is our restricted visibility settings. I can set it up to view his own user. That way they'll only see their own data. Great for, I've actually got a customer that has thousands of users, and they set up the auto provisioning into a group. That group only has access to view his own users. So everybody that gets created as an auto provisioned user only has access to themselves. They happen to be a CUCM shop, so they've got access to the dashboards. So every user can set up a dashboard and see their own stats, kind of self-monitoring. It's a great way to have your users, be able to see their own stats and self-monitor how they're doing. But I'm going to take it a little bit further. We're going to use search set restrictions. What this does, I'm going to choose one here, and I'll show you where this is set up in a second. But I've got these pre-configured. So I'm going to use users first. So we're going to set this guy, Jim, up as search set restriction users. I'm going to save this. If I go into my call analytics reporting, you'll notice this configure button here. So if I click on configure, that's where these public search sets come up as a default. The public search sets are used for security, like we're going to use them, but they can also be used in reports. So you can set up, say you've got 50 users you want to see on a report, and you want to see them, use it for multiple different reports. You don't want to have to configure those 50 users as a search set every time you configure a new report for them. You can create a public search set and then just apply that public search set to the report. Makes things a lot easier. But we're here for security, so we're going to use it in the security sense today. And you notice, remember, I chose users, so we're going to pick on this one. And basically, if you're familiar with our reporting, it allows you to pick a search type, which in this case I used calling or called party number. And then I've got a pick list for which users I want to include on my report. So in this case, I'm using Victor, Annie, and myself. Save this, and this user I'm logged in here as an admin, so I'm going to bring up a different browser and log into my lab here with Jim. I didn't fat finger that, which I did. All right. So notice this is a little bit different looking. I only have access to call analytics reporting and the history and the reports. So pretty basic. And if I want to run a report, I'm going to pick on current day. I know there's data, quite a bit of data for previous week. I'm going to choose previous week here. I'm going to go with events. If you've been on any of our other Teams webinars, you've seen we've got sequence and events reporting. I'm going to stick with events here. It'll just be a little bit easier to see on the screen here. And then call party number, my search criteria. I want to look at all calls. And you'll see why in a second. My call scenario types and choose total calls. That should give me all the calls for previous week. When I view results, I've got 23 results. And remember, I've got that public search set or that search set restriction set for Victor, myself, and Annie. So that's all the calls I'm seeing. You notice we do have Maria in there, but that's because Annie called. So I will see that call. I will see somebody else's name, but it's based on Annie's call record. And notice I've got just the 23 records here. If I do go back and run that same report here as an admin, go here, previous week, apply, set up for events, call scenario types is my default search criteria, so that makes it easier here, and view results. All right, so here I've got 74 calls, and notice I've got Victor, I've got Laura, I've got Jessica, so I've got a whole bunch more. And with my other login, I'm restricting to just those users, right? So what else can we do? I mentioned departments. We can set that up as departments. So I'm going to quick go over to configure, show you I've got two different departments set up here for search sets. I'm going to pick on the QA department today. So my search criteria is calling or called party department. I want them both ways for anything in the QA department. And then we will go over to our users and groups, find my Jim user. And that guy loads up. And then we'll just change that search criteria, restrictions, Jim, go to the bottom. So I'm going to remove users and I'm going to add QA department. That's my search set I'm going to use. Save this guy and bring up my lab. And the nice thing is I could just go back here and view results. And then notice we just see the calls either to or from the QA department. So a great way to restrict your users. If you only want to have them see their own department, you could do that. If you want to have the users just see their own data and the manager see the whole department, you can set up two different ways. So one other example I mentioned was the CEO example, where the CEO doesn't want to see the calls coming in. So we're going to go back here and let's go to my configure. And here's my no executives. And today I promoted Victor Verber to CEO. So Victor's our CEO. And what I did, basically, I'll just redo it here. Pick user and calling or call party user, because I'm going to include both. And then my pick list, choose Victor. And notice when I put him in, it comes up as is. So all I have to do is click here and it'll toggle between is and is not. And in this case, I do not want to see Victor, so we're going to set it to is not. Save that and go back to my search set restrictions and user accounts and groups for Jim. Scroll down here. There's Jim. We're going to set him to get rid of QA and no executives. Give that a save. And then when I run my report back here, we're going to see a lot of data coming through. Remember my initial, if you remember, I happen to know the wide open search had 74 call records. This one has 70. So it's excluding Victor. If we scroll through here, we don't have any calls to or from Victor if you look in the called party user or calling party user. So a great way to restrict users from being seen on certain reports, depending on how you want to set that up. So that's really it. I mean, you can get creative with some of those search sets, depending on how your data looks, but I just want to kind of go over high level what I usually use, user departments and way to exclude. I did want to point out that all this information is on our website. So if you go to resources and support center, slide on over to knowledge base, we've got a great knowledge base, a lot of great articles. In this case, we've got configuring user groups and permissions. Knowledge base, kind of what I've been going through here, how to set that up. We've got one for auto user provisioning. We touched on that right there. So if you're interested in setting that up for yourselves, or the brute force protection, we've also got a quick knowledge base article on how to set that up. Another great resource is our webinars page here. Take a look at our webinars team. That's going to show all our live webinars coming up. And this is the one we're doing today. Oh, actually, it got moved down. Safeguard. So once this recording is ready, you're going to be able to access it here. My buddy John did do something similar, kind of an overall webinar on auto user. Let's see. Yeah, we've got one on auto user provisioning. What was that, John?
I said I can't help you. I don't remember what it was called.
I think it was the permissions.
Yeah, something about the public search sets, I think.
Yeah. I thought it was users. Well, anyway, John's in there somewhere, but basically, covering similar to what we're covering here today. Mine was more focused on teams. His was more general. And we didn't have a specific webinar for brute force protection, but we do have one. So search decides to work. It was covered in one of the What's New webinars for 12.3. My website decided to slow down here, but yeah, great resource, the webinars page, or like I said, under Sports Center, Knowledge Base, some great articles in there. There we go. What's new in 12.4, that's when the brute force came out, and couldn't make a whole webinar out of it, so we just included it in what's new. So that's all I've got, John. Short and sweet today. Do we have any questions that came in?
No, we haven't so far.
Awesome.
Great job, though. I think we can never do enough to, empower our customers to, have restricted access, get the system available to more people, and have them just see what they're entitled to see and so forth. So,
Yep.
great topic to revisit. And I'm going to go ahead and take control back here. And thanks again to everyone who attended today. We appreciate that you've made time in your busy schedules to join us. Our next session will be on April 17th, when Brian and Mike will bring you a quick start guide to WebEx calling dashboards. Thanks again, everyone. We look forward to the next time. Bye for now.
Thanks all.